I start to talk about BDS from the beginning. What is BDS and what's the philosophy that animates it?
The boycott, divestment, and sanctions, or BDS movement, was launched in 2005 by the absolute majority in Palestine, in Palestinian civil society and in exile. So Palestinians are divided because of the different phases of Israeli settler colonialism or Zionist settler colonialism into three main constituent parts. Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, including East Jerusalem, are 38% approximately of the Palestinian people. Palestinians who have Israeli citizenship and are treated as second or third class citizens are 12% of the Palestinian people, and a whole 50% are Palestinians in exile, not allowed to go home. But also among Palestinians who are citizens of Israel and Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, there's a very large minority of internally displaced persons, internal refugees, who are also not allowed to go back to their villages and lands from where they were expelled during the 1948 ethnic cleansing of Palestine, or the Nakba. So BDS focuses on the rights of all three constituent parts of the indigenous Palestinian people. It calls for ending the occupation, ending the system of apartheid and racial segregation, and for the right of return for refugees, return and reparations for refugees as stipulated in international law. BDS is very much inspired by the South African anti-apartheid movement and the US civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and so on. And it is rooted in a century of Palestinian popular resistance against first British colonialism and then Zionist settler colonialism. As I said earlier, BDS opposes all forms of racism, including anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-Palestinian, and anti-Jewish racism. We oppose all forms of discrimination and racism. As a non-violent movement, BDS calls for boycotts, divestment, and eventually pressure on states and interstate organizations to impose sanctions, very much as was done against South African apartheid. So to dismantle Israel's settler colonialism, apartheid, and military occupation, we need states, corporations, institutions to cut their links of complicity. When Italian universities continue business as usual with Israeli universities that are implicated in the crimes committed by the state, and we can get to that, Italian universities are harming our struggle. So when we ask them for solidarity, the first point we're asking them is to stop their complicity, to stop harming us. That's the prerequisite for solidarity. And sometimes many activists, many supporters of Palestinian rights do not understand this critical point. It's not about charitable act to raise a Palestinian flag and stand with the Palestinians. First and foremost, end complicity of your institutions, and if you have the power, of your state as well, because Italy is deeply complicit in Israel's crimes against us. From Leonardo to many other institutions and corporations, Italy is deeply complicit. And that triggers the ethical responsibility for every single person in Italy to try to offset, to end that complicity, and if you cannot end it, at least offset it, partly by supporting BDS. Final point is that BDS is led by the absolute largest civil society coalition. It is not like an ivory tower kind of movement led by a few intellectuals or activists. It's led by a huge coalition. All trade unions, academic unions, farmers groups, women's groups, students, engineers, everyone is part of the BDS movement pretty much. So that, in a nutshell, is how we work. It's an intersectional movement. It connects Palestinian liberation with other struggles for justice, climate justice, gender, racial justice, economic justice.